Welcome. I am so excited that you're here with me, that you want to learn with me. Today, we are getting into Xcode 12. This is my first tutorial with Xcode 12, and I just want to take you on a quick tour of what's going on. So I've got a new camera set up, and I'm trying to get Xcode over here. So let's see how this goes, and I'm really excited. This is Xcode 12 Beta 3. We're going to create a brand new project, and we are going to do a multi-platform app. Yes! Okay, so this is going to be really exciting because now what we can do is we can do an application that works on both your iPhone and your Mac. So let's get into that, and let's go ahead and create this. Let's do our first app. Add an account. Oh no, I'm not signed in, so let's sign in. I just got a new Mac. I have until Wednesday to decide if I want to keep it or get a different one. Okay, hopefully that works. That is my Apple ID, and we are the account holder for my personal account. Okay, new interface. They've changed a lot of things here. Let's just make sure that it is looking good. I want the code folding ribbon in terms of editing. Let's see our indentation. We're going to do spaces. Yes, yes, yes. We're going to do indentation. It probably changed some of the settings that I like, but line numbers in the code folding are two of the things that I find are really important. So when you're just getting started, definitely do those. In terms of themes, did it preserve my theme or did I lose that? Was that on my old Mac? Oh no. I typically do high contrast. Okay, so here it is, high contrast. And I typically, I think, would do bigger fonts, but let's just go with that, or we can duplicate it. So let me duplicate high contrast, and we'll do large, or what do we want to call this? Live, for when I'm live coding. What you can do is you can do a Command A to select everything, and that will select all the stuff. Now there's two pages here. Now this is a little confusing, but we now need to go over to our text editor, and we don't want to change the weights because otherwise everything's going to feel flat. So we want the fonts. We just want to bump them up to maybe 18 or 14. Let's try, or no, I think I did 16 before. So let's go for 16, just so it's a little bigger. And is that too big? I guess we'll find out once we get some code on the screen. Okay, so that's my theme. That's the original theme. And we'll be able to play with those two themes. Okay, so now that we've got that squared away, Xcode 12. No, we don't need to call it that. So let's call this a tip calculator. Now, I recommend that you only use camel case or capital case. Don't put spaces. There have been issues where I've kind of shot myself in the foot in those types of situations. So your organization identifier, I typically will do a reverse DNS, which just means your website. And if you don't have the website, that's okay. It just needs to be unique to you. So pretend you own your website. I do. And this is what I always use for my apps. So it's going to be com.paulsolt. Bundle identifier is going to make it a unique thing, hopefully. And then we're going to include tests. That's a different dialog. Okay. I guess this defaults to SwiftUI. We'll find out. And let's create that Git repository. I typically have a new folder called projects that I put all of my sort of test projects in. So let's do that. We'll create it. Make sure you're not syncing with iCloud. So you can run into Xcode bugs if we're in system preferences. And I think it is under Apple ID or Internet Accounts, iCloud Drive, options. And then I do not sync this. So let me just take a screenshot of that. You don't want to do that because that will mess up Git. So if you are going to save locally, make sure that you are saving them in a different folder outside of your desktop. The desktop's just easy for me. It's easy to grab. So I'm just going to put it there. We can look at the other things that it's going to store. All this other stuff looks fine. That's not going to really impact anything. Excellent. Okay, so no author. This is a new account. So let's go ahead and set that up. I am Paul Solt. Okay, author email. I typically use paulsolt@gmail.com. That's sort of my personal for app development. I do paul@supereasyapps.com or for coffee, it's Paul at brewcoffeeapp.com. Any of them you can reach me at. Just shoot me an email. That's totally fine. And let's say, yeah, let's try and prefer to rebase when pulling. That's a Git thing. And I've never used that other option, so I'll just sort of leave that one there. And that's looking good. Okay, so we should be squared away. This is our very first app. Let me just make this take up the full screen, and we'll get this to run on Mac. And then hopefully, I've got to run this on Big Sur. I have another Mac, but I cannot use that one here. I wonder if I could upgrade my Mac Mini. I have a Mac Mini. Maybe that can help us. We won't be able to test this until I upgrade to that. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top and we're going to switch over to the iOS version. This one should work. And if we click on, interesting, do they update the iPod Touch? I've never seen that at the bottom. Usually newer ones come at the bottom. So let's click this, run this again. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to notice is that the Xcode Live preview tends to be paused a lot of the time. And so that's because it doesn't know if you want to run it. And since we were initially on Mac, it's like, I don't know if you want this. And so what we're going to do is we are going to either have to create a preview or not. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is this is our tip calculator app.swift. So this is actually the main starting point. So this, we don't really need a preview, I don't think. So that's fine that one's paused. But let's go over to our content view. This is the one that we actually do want to see the preview. And if you had clicked that button, it would have added this type of thing to your other thing. So my computer is really spinning up. It's really thinking hard. And we're going to see this launch. I'm surprised how long this takes, but this is actually the first time I have used Xcode on this new Mac. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, and we could hit the resume button here. The keyboard shortcut is going to be Control-Option-P. And that is a really useful keyboard shortcut as you're working because the preview will pause itself many times, and trying to find that little button way up in that corner is a little bit frustrating and time consuming. Okay, I am maxing out. I have no idea what we're doing. We're setting up a new simulator. So it's either downloading the new simulator or it's already included and it's just like spinning up, and it is eating my CPU right now. If you have an older Mac, this is going to be a lot slower. And also, since we're in beta land right now this summer, this will take longer because it has to get squared away. All right, what I like to do when I'm doing development, I put that simulator over on this left side so I can see it. Boom, look at that, that's amazing. And now another new thing with Xcode is this button is now on the left side and this button is on the right side. So now it's more contextual with where you need to go. Again, keyboard shortcuts are always going to sort of save the day here. So the right side is going to be a Command-Option-0, and then the left side is just Command-0. So way easier than hitting the button. That's what I use all the time. So again, one more time, let's practice that. Open up Xcode. Pause this video if you don't have Xcode open. Okay, we're back. Let's try those keyboard shortcuts. So it's going to be Command-Option-0 for the right side for your editors, and then it's going to be just Command-0 to sort of toggle on, toggle off, toggle on, toggle off. So give that a whirl and let me know in the comments below if this was helpful. Okay, so this is our very first view. This is using SwiftUI, and this is really exciting because now what you can do with Xcode is you can use SwiftUI for a Mac app and a iPhone app. And under the hood, it is using Catalyst, but it's kind of less important now, which I really like because the decision to use Catalyst or not in, I think, the previous version of Xcode was just confusing and I just didn't fully understand it. I tried it once. It didn't work like I expected. There's a couple of Catalyst apps that I've tried that just don't feel polished, and maybe that's a side effect of Apple not having great Mac developers. I'm not sure. I need to submit some bug reports, or is that a limitation of Catalyst? I have no idea, but everything got a revamp this year, and so we're going to see what that's going to look like. Okay, so what I want you to do in your first app, just type your name. Say, hey, Paul. So don't use my name unless you're Paul, and then go ahead and run that. You should see the live preview will update as we type that. And if we run this one more time with the Command R shortcut, this will quit the previous. I always hit this checkbox. So let's go ahead and hit that, stop, and boom. Hey, Paul. So hopefully that says your name. I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching. I think upcoming, I've got a time lapse of my coffee app that I'm working on. So if you want more details about that, go check it out. And if you like this video, please hit the like button down below and share it with a friend if this was helpful, an introduction to keyboard shortcuts, to how to set up Xcode for the first time. Brand new Mac that I just got, and it was not set up for Git, so that I needed to make sure that that was set up. The other things that we looked at was just getting the app working with SwiftUI. It's a very exciting time because Apple has finally added some new features to SwiftUI that makes it usable for me. In the last version, it just didn't have everything I needed. And in order to write the code that I wanted, it was super gnarly. But that's for another time. I'm not ready to dive into SwiftUI right now. I just wanted to give you an introduction to Xcode 12 Beta 3. And by the time you're watching this, there might already be a new beta out. So go download the latest version. It might look a little bit different, but this should get you started. Thanks for watching.